Hello and welcome to the Content Marketing Heroes podcast. This month we are joined by Paul Andrews, who is the Managing Director and Editor-in-Chief at Family Business United. You can find out more about Paul by visiting www.familybusinessunited.com. Thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions. So firstly, you live and breathe family business and grew up in a family business environment. What would you say is your favourite aspect of that sector?
It's a good question, Claire. I think for me, it's all about relationships. Real people doing real business. They're passionate about it, they've lived it, they've maybe lived it for generations. So there's a human aspect to them doing business together with their family members, and there's a personal connection. And for me, I come from a family business originally, so there's a kind of an association that I get. Mm-hmm. And I think once you get it, the power of that relationship comes through in the business. So for me, it's all about the business and the people.
Second question then, what's the biggest misconception businesses have when they're starting to think about developing a social media strategy?
For me, I think that talking to the family firms that we work with, I think it's all about time and cost. I think there's a fear that it's going to be prohibitively expensive, and they fail to understand really that social media is all about time, and actually once you do it, it's free, it's a free resource, and you can get some fantastic results by actually just doing something positive and proactive. And I go back to the older days, I'm a bit older than you are, when people used to issue press releases that were signed off. I think the biggest challenge they have is actually making sure the messages and the values they're communicating through social media are the messages they want to communicate. So in the past you would have had it signed off by maybe a PR manager or a director, whereas now it's instant. So it's about communicating what you're trying to do in a way that actually comes across quite quickly, because it is instant.
Do you think they sometimes also think that they're going to have instant results and don't realise that you do have to, sort of, as you said, you know?
Yes, I think that's true. I think that's true of any marketing. People expect I'm going to launch something and it's going to be the next big thing, or it's going to go viral. And it just takes time and effort once you've launched something to really put the strategic thought into how you're going to get that to market in the right way. So using the right platform, the right timing, the right time zones, the right cost, the communication. And actually building up a community, a network of your contacts that you can market it to, because they're your best advocates to start with. So it's building a process and making it work for you. And you're not going to necessarily get instant results.
No, sadly not.
I wish we did.
Okay, so third question. Which social media networks do you find most useful for B2B marketing?
It's a good question, and I think for me as a publisher, we obviously publish content, but we're also an event company. So the two that we use most and get most success with for us are Twitter and LinkedIn. LinkedIn professionally is a community of advisors and professionals that are in the same sector as us, who provide us with thought leadership and content, and actually relationships in terms of sponsorship opportunities, speakers at events and all that type of thing. And Twitter is just instant for us in terms of we host Twitter chats, we publish, we engage. I'm ranked number 2 in the world at the moment globally as an influencer in the family business sphere on social media. And a lot of that comes from the interactivity that we have on Twitter. It's instant, it's gratifying. It's also real, and family businesses understand Twitter, I think, more than they do the benefits of maybe something like a Facebook for their business or LinkedIn. So for us, Twitter works really well.
Can you tell me a little bit more about those Twitter chats, actually?
Yeah, we do about one every month. We pick a theme that's a constant theme for family businesses around the world, so succession or engaging the next generation, or governance structures, and then we find some of our advisory community who are experts in the area, and then we post some questions and get them to respond, and then bring in the community from around the world. So the last one we did about 6 weeks ago, given the holiday season, we had people participating from India, Belgium, Ireland, America, Canada, and obviously from the UK. So they're beginning to grow, and it's a great way to learn because these people share their best practice, but also share resources and articles and things. So from a family business, they don't need to put their head above the parapet. They can just sit in the background and watch the chat and access what they want. So it works really well for us.
Yeah, it's a great way of building a real community. Okay, fourth question. So on a related note to this, you manage several social media accounts, as you've mentioned, but as well as the Family Business United website. Do you have a favourite social media or marketing tool to help you with any aspect of this?
There's quite a lot actually. The family business field is quite new here in the UK, so it's grown over the last 20 years, but the media are quite family business friendly now. So there are lots more content out there. So Lots of tools to make my life easy. I have a good network of family businesses that send me their press releases and their content, so that pings straight into the inbox, which is great. And then we use that and share it on the right platforms at the right time, be it Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I think also for me it's really important that we get the right content and we can add value to the content we get. So thought leadership pieces, insights. We use Passle, big plug there for Passle, but Passle's fantastic for giving us an opportunity to comment on things that we wouldn't necessarily have access to. So articles in the Harvard Business Review, the Financial Times, newspapers that have sort of really proprietary content that we can use and add value to and share, which is fantastic. Also media alerts, I use Google Alerts on a regular basis. They ping in every day and they're a good backup. And then journalist alerts. As a journalist I get to access lots of journalist friendly databases and resources, so there's always content coming in, it's how you then use it and pick the relevant pieces. So there's always almost too much rather than not enough nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Have to find the gem in the noise, really.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Definitely. All right, well, going to dive straight into the fifth question based on that. So, which is kind of related actually to what you were saying about finding all of this content everywhere. I mean, since starting to use Passle almost a year ago, you've created around 260 posts. And where do you find inspiration for your content? You've kind of answered that a little bit, but I'm sure there are other...
Well, my passion is family business, and I have an obsession with providing a community with the right content to help them deal with their day-to-day challenges. So I love what I do. For me, it's not a job, it's kind of a vocation and it pays the bills, but I actually love the whole family business sector. So the more I read, the more inspiration it gives me to share. So it's just finding content that I want to read, so I don't repost or I don't share anything or I don't publish anything that I haven't found interesting, and that's my benchmark. I don't believe in just deluging social media accounts with content just for the sake of putting content out there. It has to have some relevance or be something better than the last thing we did. And if you take something like succession planning, succession's written about the world over. And the number of articles that we get sent saying this is the best succession article ever, and it's just the same 7 things all over again. It's just pointless. Why bother republishing it? So for us, human elements, human angles, people speaking honestly about their journey is what people want to read about, because people like to hear other people that have been through the same things. So it's about the real content. For me, Passle makes life easy. 260 posts is great, but actually we use Passle probably in a different way to others. We have a Hall of Fame. So we deliberately have created a Hall of Fame for people that do something special in the sector. It's quite small and people don't get into it very easily. We're quite selective. And then we do the normal insight piece in terms of the thought leadership on family business matters. And then we have another piece which we call in the news. So rather than us actually having access necessarily to some of the news content from around the world without getting the press releases ourselves, we can publish them. We publish them in the news section to really bring the diversity and the global angle to the work that we do. So it really helps. It's a tool that we use as one of many, but actually Passle's really helped us generate some really good thought leadership.
Cool. All right, thank you very much. All right, that's all we have time for. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Do subscribe for more interesting conversations in the future. And thank you very much to Paul for giving us a bit of his time today.